Okay, I guess we could start now. So, hello everybody. This is Damian from SimpleSwap, and thank you for joining us today at our AMA with the Orbs network. And it's my pleasure to welcome Orbs community lead Shawn O'Donaghue. Shawn, are you here? Can you hear us?
Yeah, Damien, loud and clear. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for the invite. Really excited to kick things off here and get everyone familiar with Orbs.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine, Shawn. So, how it's going today? How are you?
It's going good. It's going good. I've been playing a lot of what is it? The new World of Warcraft just came out, so I've been playing a lot of that recently. So
Yeah. So once again, it's my pleasure to have you here. So, and maybe we could start from the very beginning in general. So, could you tell more about yourself, about your team, and how the Orbs project appeared? So, any general information you think it's would be good for us?
yeah, sure. So I'll start with myself, and then I'll kind of move on to the how the Orbs project came about, and then kind of go dive into the team. So for me personally, I've been in crypto for I think like 4 or 5 years now. It's kind of fuzzy. Crypto the years feel like decades. And I got started as an intern at Blockonomics, which familiar is a payment processor for e-commerce websites. And then from there, I worked on a bunch of different projects as like a typical mod, and kind of worked my way up into like a in-house community management role at Taraxa. I led the token sale at Taraxa, and kind of the rest is history. And the Taraxa token sale, it was like it was a pretty big raise on TokenSoft, and I'd say it was like the highlighting thing that really kind of pivoted my career towards this direction and kind of like diving full deep into crypto. And yeah, as of 4 months ago, five or just now five at the end of this month now, I've been at Orbs, working on. I sit primarily on the like my role is supposed to be community, but I wear a lot of different hats. I help out on BD. I do marketing. I write blogs. I help design things like some ideas with our actual designer. So yeah, I kind of sit in a lot of different verticals, and I get exposed to a lot of different facets happening on the Orb side, and it's a really exciting place to be. I'm really impressed by Orbs, and just from like an employee perspective, like Orbs is awesome. Like we're not like the things I've been seeing in FTX. Like everyone's super nice, and it's a great environment. In terms of how Orbs came to be, so Orbs started back I think it was 3 years ago. And they raised money from non-U.S. investors, and you have to add that because you can't raise money from U.S. investors, and with the focus of going after institutions, so going for institutional mass adoption. But what they realized after a few years was that institutional mass adoption is pretty far away. They think originally they thought it would take like 5 years till they start seeing like massive players come into the space. Now we think it's a little bit more like 10 to 15 years before you see like an Amazon, for example, using a blockchain for logistics. We still think that's going to happen, but it's just further down the line. So in the meantime, we've kind of switched over to being more retail focused, if you will, and kind of sitting more on the DeFi side of things. With our biggest thing that we're working on right now. I'll start with this first. Orbs' main pitch is layer 3. So what that means is Orbs sits on top in between the blockchain stack and enhances smart contracts. So for example, if you are Urine's a good example. So if you're Urine, you could potentially use Orbs to execute commands in a decentralized way, thus enhancing the yield reward of the earn. So you could increase an earn in a decentralized way using Orbs. I think we'll get more into what a layer 3 is and things that exciting projects that we're working on as a layer 3 later on in this chat. So I'll just leave it at that for now. In terms of Orbs as the people that I work with, who are really awesome and I have a pleasure of working with, seriously, a lot of them are so on the tech side, a lot of them are they're very seasoned individuals, and they're not like crypto native. Like they're not 20-year-olds just out of college and have been building in their dorm rooms. A lot of them are quite older in age and have been developers for 20, 30 years, and have now kind of switched over to blockchain as they kind of find it interesting and something that kind of challenges them. I mean, blockchain really is like, if you ask people in the tech world or people that are technical, they will say that blockchain is a cutting edge of technology. So it's a really exciting field for, I think, all age groups and all sorts of developers that want to code and don't want to go down the management path. So our developers are really sophisticated and really talented and smart, and it's something that we're really proud of at Orbs. And in terms of the management team, they also have plenty of experience in traditional, typically like very big listed public companies that they've worked at and have now kind of like switched to the startup life to, they want something a little bit slower. They wanted something a little bit different, not as big, but you get to know everyone, you get to have actual interactions with people. And yeah, Orbs really is, it's a really special place. It's incredible. It's like no other company that I've worked for. It's really, really awesome. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps up the general section. Damien, I don't know, maybe you could shed some light into kind of the Orbs and SimpleSwap partnership.
Oh yeah, exactly. But first of all, I must say, like, pretty solid and varied career you have. Like, I guess you've been like almost in every direction of like crypto market. So that's just incredible, and breathtaking for me as well. And but first, I wanted to ask like the more about the orbs. So you mentioned that generally you are working for the for the developers, or at least for people who are known at least the basics in crypto. But who are your major audience of your project? So is there any focus on like non-crypto users who maybe just beginning to investigate about the crypto? So what do you think about such people?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'd say like our main focus, like, so the product that we're like focusing on right now is time weighted order price, or TWAP. And like these types of things have two components. So the first one is we have to get companies on board with the idea of like integrating Orbs into their exchange or their DEX. And then from there we have to go and do the integration work, and then ultimately we have to then educate people on why TWAP is important, why they should use it over just executing a simple, a swap regularly. What are the advantages? And then what are the drawbacks of using TWAP? Like there aren't really any, but it's always good to be cognizant of any like issues that could happen from doing a trade that way. So I think it's really like a two-pronged approach. In terms of like people that aren't really familiar with crypto, I'd say like I think that's something that a lot of projects are struggling with, um, if not all of them, like onboarding people that aren't familiar with blockchain into the ecosystem. Like if you haven't used a DEX, it'd be kind of silly to kind of like, be interested in Orbs. But I'd say it's like from like the project's perspective, we always try to make educating material. Like I always see things as like we make an announcement and then we have to educate our audience on why that's important, like why this matters, why you need to know about it, and why you should use Orbs or alternatively something else. So yeah. I think that kind of answers it.
Exactly. It's always important to make your audience known about the different changes which appears in your project and why you're doing so. I completely agree. And so actually, as you mentioned before, like we in SimpleSwap, like glad to announce that we have now a partnership with the Orbs network. So anyone could like swap Orbs on our website like instantly and without any KYC or something like this. And so that is why I wanted to ask you more about also the different partnerships and collaboration. And usually it's also one of the most important cornerstones to help to improve and to develop the project. And could you tell more about the Orbs partners? Maybe you have any upcoming partnerships, and basically who is the best project which could become a partner of Orbs?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So in the pipeline right now, we announced it a few weeks ago that we're integrating our time-weighted order price feature into Spirit Swap stacks, which was a really exciting process because we had to go through their governance and get approval from their community to start the integration, which was kind of interesting. And had me spending a lot of time in their Discord and several other communities that their big token holders exist, and convincing them on why TWAP will set Spirit Swap ahead of the pack in terms of the other dexes on Phantom and kind of just dexes in general. From there, looking ahead from SpiritSwap, and SpiritSwap integration is really close, by the way. The work's almost finished, and we're super excited about it. But looking ahead from SpiritSwap, we have other dexes in the pipeline. They haven't been announced yet, unfortunately, but we do have other dexes that are interested in integrating with us for our time-weighted order price feature.
Yeah, so you mean like you're more focused on like DeFi project on DEX swaps, or like, or it's just one of the directions you're looking at?
Yeah, I'd say it's like the biggest direction that we're moving at currently.
Oh yeah, actually great. So yeah, it was pretty obvious, but still just need to listen it one more time. So, and you also mentioned that you have a lot of like the big holders, the big players, and could you tell more about like what benefits will would user get if they hold like Orbs token for a long period of time, or maybe is there any advice for a short term? So what is the main idea of holding Orbs like right now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so sure. In terms of those big holders, I kind of meant SpiritSwaps, like getting those guys involved in kind of the governance process and getting their approval, and spending time in another community that wasn't Orbs and kind of bridging them. It was interesting. But in terms of Orbs and holding the Orbs token, it's pretty. Right now, we do have staking. So what happens is you go onto our staking portal on our website. And you go over and you delegate your tokens to we call them guardians. Essentially, they're node operators, and you can delegate to a guardian or node operator if you prefer, for yield on your token, depending on how much size of the network that they have and how much you're also delegating. I think right now it's around 6.6% annual return. So it's not like we don't have any crazy returns. We're not like the ohm of layer 3, but there is opportunities for people that want to invest in the project long term.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And by the way, you told before that some of the users are using the Orbs as well as like as a bridge for like another currencies and another tokens. And as I know that Orbs is one of the very first projects which combines both like layer 1 and layer 2 protocol together. And could you elaborate more about the reason of this, how it works, and what exactly competitive advantages does this combining gets to you and your community and maybe your partners?
Yeah, for sure. So, so when we say we kind of combine the two, I think what we kind of mean is like, or to better understand, is we kind of dubbed this like layer 3. And I kind of mentioned it in the intro. Like layer 3 is it sits on top of these layer 1s and layer 2s, and we enhance them in different ways. So, for example, like for the SpiritSwap, we're enhancing them by enabling TWAP on their platform, which is a time-weighted average price, which means the transaction is executed over a period of time instead of swapped all at once. And that's really exciting for us because it kind of showcases and it's ran directly by and executed by the Orbs Guardians. So that's really exciting, and it kind of shows, I think, like best displays how Orbs operates as a layer 3. In terms of other chains, we don't have I think we have a Polygon bridge, but that's about it. We are on other networks, but we are blockchain agnostic. But predominantly we're on the Ethereum mainnet.
Oh yeah. Thank you for such informative like answer. And also, I know one more question, which is in my mind, is you mentioned that you have a lot of like US investors, and of course, as any crypto project, as any DeFi projects, it's usually face the problems and barriers with the legal issues in different countries. So how Orbs deal with it? So did you face any barriers? Did you have any specific problems with the legacy in different countries?
No, sorry. I don't know if I misspoke earlier, but no, we don't have any U.S. investors when we first launched the project. That's like a big roadblock we're running into now because like we want to expand to other geographic areas, and we want like a good like English speaking community for like Western audience community, if you will. And it's been tricky because most of the tokens are in Japan. We have really strong communities in Korea and Japan, So kind of getting people educated on the other side of the world has been one of my challenges and something, I'm still working on. But it's exciting. In terms of like, day-to-day regulations, so the company is headquartered in Tel Aviv, Israel. And we haven't had any issues with the regulators as of yet that I know of. And a lot of people in the company have actually been asked to speak on cryptocurrency panels and things like that, and they know some of the people in government. So it kind of helps us navigate those choppy waters at times. I know in Israel, just through the grapevine, I've heard that sometimes if you're in crypto, a bank will just like stop serving you and will just completely close your account. So something that we're always aware of and trying to mitigate that risk whenever possible. So yeah, I think that kind of answers it the best.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, the legal questions, the legal issues is one of the themes, one of the questions is which are always should be on the roadmap. And honestly, while preparing for this AMA, I heard about your previous AMA and interviews, and a lot of projects just. We're asking you about the long-term vision of the Orbs and the long-term mission of the Orbs project. But could you tell us more about what you are focusing right now? So, what are your short-term actually goals, and which issues are the first for you to solve right now?
Yeah, sure. So I think short term, we're the big one is getting more dexes integrated into time weighted order price. Because that again, it's something we're really excited about because it's the first real time that Orbs Guardians are directly touching TVL and interacting with real user funds. So it's really exciting, and I think it's going to really battle test Orbs as a protocol. In terms of and besides, so that's the one thing. And then the other thing that we're working on in the short term is we're really active on the TON network. That is the open network, Open TON network. It's the company that after Telegram had an ICO and they launched it, and then they ultimately had to close down the ICO because the SEC shut them down. The TON spun up a project off of that as like an open foundation, not owned by Telegram. And now they're slowly being integrated into the kind of like the Telegram universe. For example, they just launched .ton domains, like .eth domains, and those are being directly integrated into Telegram apps. So it's a really exciting project that Orbs is interested in and we're building in. We just released Minter, which is essentially a way that people can deploy jetons, which are is essentially the equivalent of ERC20 tokens on Ethereum. And Orbs was named the official deployer of jetons on TON. So it's a really exciting time for us on the TON network and also on Ethereum mainnet. It's something we're excited for, looking forward to.
Yeah, actually, pretty great and ambitious goals, like especially when we talk about the short term. And of course, when we're talking about the DeFi project, about the actually basically any crypto project, so is one of the main projects problems with the smart contracts today. Such as for Orbs as well, I guess, is there is a very high risk of like different bugs and misleads that allow hackers to steal the funds and or incur the significant losses for the project. So, do you have any specific approach on it? So, maybe you have any solutions that would prevent this. So, could you tell more about the technical side of things?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of like audit, I think like audits is kind of like the overarching question here. All of our major contracts are audited. Both like the token contract as well as the staking contract. You can see those on GitHub. The token contract had 3 audits. The staking contract had 2 audits. And also, I think at this point, hopefully I don't eat my own words here, but they seem to be like battle tested just because they've been around for so long. Obviously, things always happen, and no one can predict the future, but they have been around for a good amount of time, and they're battle tested, if you will. So yeah, but it's something that at Orbs we take very seriously. I know that the developers every end of the week go through and they look at exploits that have happened on other chains and other protocols, and they sit with the CTO and they literally go line by line of the code and they see what happened and how it was executed and how we can prevent the same type of disaster on Orbs. So it's something that we're always cognizant of, and we're always getting audits. I know the TWAP, that our newest contract got audited before it was integrated. So we take security very, 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 very seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like glad to hear that, and of course, it's one of the most important cases for DeFi projects, as I mentioned before, and it's great to hear that Orbs like taking it very seriously, and even more like great that you have open source for such contracts, and that's just incredible. And actually, we have a question from the live chat, and guys who are listening to us right now, I encourage you to ask anything you need to and you want to hear from Shawn. So the question is about the predictable fees in Orbs network. Can you explain how it works generally?
So we don't really have any like so like a lot of our things that we're deploying, like TWAP, for example, doesn't have any additional fees currently. We might work that in later to the protocol, but there are no fees like to execute a TWAP trade. There's no fee. Right now, our main goal is adoption and then monetization later. So yeah, there really there really are any added fees, which is always a good thing. So.
And so you mean like for now it's like the lowest fees you have, or could you elaborate more about is it could be predicted somehow, or just yeah?
Yeah, so when you use TWAP, you're just paying the gas fees. There's also some small fee to pay to the Orbs Guardians, but it's also I think paid out, and it's just to cover their gas fees. So really, you're just paying gas when you execute a transaction. There's nothing additionally being added to it.
Okay, I get it. Now I get it. Yeah, thank you for the information. Thanks once again. And yeah, and in general, like you have like the great and intuitive feedback about the Orbs in general, and the Orbs approach about uh, and about like the future plans, and some of which are interested one of our users. So, what are your plans for 2023, and what is the goal of your project? So, again, about the long term.
So, I think like in 2023 we wanna have a major. I think like our overarching goal is to have like a major DEX integrated, whether it's like Uniswap, SushiSwap, or one of the other like 10 that have pretty significant volume. I think that's like a big goal, and to kind of prove, coming out of this bear market, whenever that is to happen, that Orbs is like here to prove again that we're here to stick around, and that we have working projects that are integrated with DEXs that people are actually using. Hopefully more and more as the market kind of picks up. In terms of what other things that we're looking for in 2023, we really want to distinguish Orbs as we want the layer 3 narrative to be pretty widespread. We don't want it to just be us crazy, like us people, seemingly crazy people are saying it. We want people to recognize what an L3 is, that it sits on top of these blockchains, and here's Orbs, or here's another project that you can go and use to kind of get these transactions executed in a decentralized, or not transaction, but these commands executed in a decentralized way. And kind of almost be operating as like like software as a service, where projects come up to us and want to integrate with us because of the cool things that they can deploy using Orbs, and ultimately have it be like self-help, where their developers won't even need to contact us. It's just all laid out in our documentation on how to implement it seamlessly.
Okay. Thank you again. Like as usual, the very informative and variative answers. So it's I'm so glad to speaking with you in such way, and so thank you very much for your time today. And so I guess uh, and so also as well, thanks for everyone who are listening us today, for being with us, and for all your questions. But let's keep it fair, and we pick the questions as we pick the questions in advance. So I will pick, I guess, the last one question for Shawn. So, and here it is. So, do you have any plans on NFT integration on your platform?
Yeah, so we have some. So I wouldn't say not like there isn't really any plans. What we currently have is what we currently have, and we have a project called My NFT, and it kind of just verifies that this person owns an NFT and that it is their wallet and that they own the NFT of that wallet. So yeah, I think it's called mynft.io. I think that you can kind of go and check out if you want. But that's pretty much all that we have planned for NFTs. NFTs are kind of interesting right now as they're kind of like in a bear market. I'm kind of curious what you think, Damien. Like they're kind of slowing down, but I don't know. There might be some
Yeah,
life
yeah,
left.
of course. The market in general, the crypto market in general, of course, during the bar market is might be for different projects in hard to launch a new projects and new features in their projects, but still, in my opinion, actually, the way the crisis is the best way to find opportunities. So I encourage all projects to look forward in the long term. So it couldn't be the nights forever. So anyway, the market will go up somehow. That's my belief. Yeah.
Definitely think so, and hope so too.
Yeah. So thank you, Sean, for today, for your time. First of all, for such informative answers about the Orbs projects and your thoughts in general. Again, as a very old crypto member, you showed us like a lot of new side of a new view on the how Orbs works and your market plans. And my pleasure was to hold it and to speak it to you today. And once again, thank you, and thank you everybody who were here with us.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate everyone coming out and listening. It was a pleasure, Damien. Thank you for the invite. It was really cool. It's better than the last one I went to, actually, because I was a little bit more prepared this time. So
Great to hear. Thank you. And so, guys, don't forget to follow the Orbs Twitter and to follow the whole news. And also mention that you could instantly exchange Orbs token on the SimpleSwap, and I encourage you to do that. And thank you, Sean, for your time today.
Thanks again.